All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Dan Binizeski, and this is Binsky's presentation of the utilization of Revisto as a bridge between mechanical layout and fabrication. With me today are Felipe Morales and Barry Chupp of Binsky, and we appreciate you guys giving us a few minutes. So a little bit of an intro. Felipe is our Revisto nuts and bolts guy on the inside of Binsky. He handles all the down and dirty setup for all of our new projects. And Barry's one of our mechanical designers responsible for the layout of our piping systems. They'll both have the opportunity in the coming minutes to explain their parts of this process. And for those of you unfamiliar with Binsky & Snyder, we're one of the East Coast's largest mechanical contractors. And inside Binsky, I'm what we call a project development manager. I work with and for the PM, and my main goal is to deliver a fully fabricatable model to the project. Revisto has shown itself to be vital in that task. And here's a little perspective on that. Before Revisto, generally speaking, as a design and layout team, we would lay out and coordinate, share files with our fab team. They would create spools. Our shop would fab up those spools. We would send them to the field and we would install. But we had no real formal way to convey that info to the field during that process. We would call, email, text, and somehow we would get it done. And it worked. We've got many years of successful prefab under our belts at Binsky & Snyder. However, we're always looking to optimize our procedures, and we knew there was a gap in our communication. And that's where Revisto came into play. In our presentation, we will convey how we use Revisto to communicate our layout to our fab team and include the field staff in that communication. Revisto has given us a one-stop location for communicating, calling out, discussing, and most importantly, solving layout issues as they exist in the model, such that they won't exist in the field. Using the issue button functionality in Revisto, we're able to set up direct and seamless communication with our operations staff, both the PMs, who all too often have multiple projects to juggle, or the foremen, who are typically away from the office. This allows us to communicate very easily across all job sites using Revisto as the central location. We do this by scheduling regularly scheduled model review meetings with the foreman and PM before we even have boots on the ground in the field. Sometimes it's a challenge to get the foreman involved that early, but the truth of the matter is that bringing them in this early gives an essential field perspective to creating that fully fabricatable model. It's our discussions with the ops team, our PMs and our foremen. We break down the job into smaller chunks and refer to those chunks as work packages. Barry Chupp in a few minutes will discuss the designation of work packages in the world of Revit. But before we go there, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Felipe to provide some perspective on how Binsky initially sets up a Revisto project to create a blank canvas for our layout team. So with that, I turn it over to Felipe. Felipe, are you with us?
There he is.
Hello? Oh, okay. Hey, Felipe.
Yes, hello, how are you guys?
We are starting your video as we speak.
All right, yes, this is basically, yes, please press play. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a Revisto project. And basically we have a template that the company, we all sat down, came together, we put the whole template together. And what I'm doing right there is I'm actually picking the template to choose, and then you'll see that I'll have everything checked. And that's going to include the people that we want to add in there, managers, project managers, people that buy equipment. And then basically what I did, I set up the project, press save. Basically everybody gets an email saying, you know, this new project was set up and you're a part of it. And then that's basically just clicking the documents. You can set up document boxes. You can push PDFs, the drawings to it. And then I think you should play the other video, Dan.
Okay.
Right. And that's basically what happens is our company standards, we basically push all contract models through Navis, and our stuff that we draw, our pipes and stuff like that, small equipment that we put in Revit, that gets pushed through the Revit exporter to Revisto. So you have all the contract stuff from other trades, usually, you know, HVAC, you know, architectural, structural. And here what I did was I just drew 4 little walls up in Revit, NWC'd out, pushed it into Navis. And of course, you got to save your Navis project. This was just a test, so I probably just named it test. And you got to basically save it. And then you'll see that I'm going to link to the project that I set up in Revisto. Boom, I'm going to press link project. And then I go and I pick the project that I made. And it should just push the 4 objects. There you go. Then I'm going to push the project. And whenever you're doing this, you always want to kind of append as a new model. So you're pushing something new. You're going to see, I had done the Revit one before, kind of did little videos backwards, but you're going to push the NWC. It's going to show in the project. And then after this video, Dan's going to open the Revit one, but I think it's going to finish.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you can do the Revit one. And there you go. Those are the 4 boxes. And basically what I used as an example as for our pipe was our little Binsky triangle that we use to, you know, put little issues that we have that we can't mark up on the actual model. So here I'm going to actually basically how we have it set up in our as our standards is we'll have everything turned off in Revit and only leave our pipes and the objects we want to see. So here I'm going to go and turn off the walls. And then I'm going to link the Revit part to Revisto. Boom, link it. And then when I go do the push, you're actually going to not see the NWC, the Navis part of it. But here you're going to actually append as a new model also. But whenever we're updating it or you're manually updated, you always want to update that thing. So if you were pushing a model and you're adding extra steel to it that you just got an NWC for, just add it in there, save, and you're always going to append to the existing model. But here, since we're doing the new project, we're just pushing out new stuff. There you go. And then Dan, if you play that last one.
Is this the same one? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it this one?
Yeah.
I apologize. Go ahead.
No problem. And here is basically whenever it syncs, if you do it from Navis or Revit, it's going to ask you to sync. So everybody else in the project gets to see the updated stuff. But once you press 3D, show everything that I pushed. I got a little lost there. I was looking for the walls. I was like, where are my walls? And they're actually hidden up on the thing. And then I noticed it. And I'm going, oh, it's hidden. So I zoom in. See me looking around, Travis? I'm like, where are they? There they are. And then I unhide them.
There you go.
And then double click and then focus. I think press there. And there's the box. One comes from Navis and the other one comes from Revit. That's it. That's the process. This is how we use Revisto. And of course, by doing this, when we do a push every night, all our foremen, all our field guys, they always see the up-to-date stuff every night.
Okay, and with that, we're going to move on from creating a blank canvas that is a new Revisto project to some more project-specific items that Barry Chupp is going to discuss in detail.
Hey, I'm Barry Chupp, been with Binsky a couple of years. We use Revit as our modeling program. We take the design team concept and create content utilizing Fabrication Academy parts from a customized database profile based upon the project specifications. From there, we collaborate with other trades according to the BIM execution plan prepared by the client. Our mechanical, plumbing, and pharmaceutical piping is then exported to Revisto via the export scheduler built into the Revisto ribbon that is installed when you load Revisto, and it automatically goes into the Revit, AutoCAD, and Navisworks. And Dan will show a picture of that, showing you the ribbons for each one of those programs and the features that are provided within those programs. That's how you utilize the export at night. They have an export scheduler there that is very convenient. Therefore, we can set things up In the after hours of work, it uploads within 15 minutes and updates everything, and we're in good shape instead of waiting for it to update during the day and having dead time for a couple of hours. Once that content is within Revisto, we begin collaborating with the field in a more efficient manner. For example, I have a situation I want the field to provide their input for. So Dan, if you go ahead and fire the next video for us. So in this example right here, we have a chill water supply and return piping that's exiting the building and offsetting down into a trench and then transitioning vertically up. The issue that I want to discuss with the field is with regards to the weld located at the wall penetration and the pipe spools through the exterior wall and transitioning down into the trench. How does the field prefer to these spools to be broken up? In other words, they've got to push this pipe through the wall one way or the other. Do they have enough room outside? Are they doing it from the inside? What's their means and methods of working through this? So what I've done is I've created a class, an issue, if you will, and I'm tagging that now and defining that. So what we'll walk through here in this presentation is we'll kind of give an example of what we do to assign that. So I've given it a title after I've made the issue. I've clicked OK. It's going to pop up the issue tracker, and in the issue tracker, I can give it a deadline, or excuse me, a priority, if it's major, minor, critical, and I can also assign a deadline date. For here, I'm giving about a 2 to 3 week out to make sure we have enough time to respond to it internally. And then from there, I am able to assign who I want this to be a first look at. And for this project, Dan is my first look. And then I'm going to also have assigned the watchers, which is my field personnel, my field foreman. I'm assigning it to them. Therefore, they will get notification that they have something to look at and provide critical feedback on this issue. So that's what we do with our, an example of how we tag our issues and what we use them for. The next thing we like to do is another feature we feel is important to collaborate with the field is planning and releasing of what we call work packages. I'm wanting to assign. Dan made reference to earlier. Work packages is basically a smaller scope of work that we want to be installed in a short time frame, typically 1 to 2 weeks, something of that way that you can kind of micromanage it a little bit better. So what I'm doing here is we start in the Revit model by tagging a predetermined set of piping with a parameter assigned to a work package designation. So in this work, in the Revit, we have the ability to assign the parameters. And so what I've done is I've grabbed this group of piping that I want to assign a work package. I have pre-selected that name and I've tagged it with a parameter name. And the way I've got my filters set up, it will disappear from this view and show up in a view that I have just isolated for the work package. This gives me the opportunity to QA/QC and make sure everything is selected like I want it, and it will be presented for the team to look at. So as you see, we're just going through and checking that and make sure everything is signed appropriately. The other thing we like to do with Revisto specifically is we like to use the search sets. So in search sets, what helps us isolate work packages and view them in an isolated view. And I'm going to demonstrate this here by the work package we already have set up in Revisto through filters in the search set. I can right mouse click on the search set and I can isolate the work package just on its own. That allows me to double check and look at things. Does it match up with what I anticipated to show? Is everything being shown properly? And then from here, you can go to the appearance profiler palette, and in the top right corner, there is a broom that you can click on that will clear your selections and bring you back to the normal model. So now what I'm going to do is demonstrate how you can isolate this same package in transparency. So once again, find your package, right mouse click, and click on isolate and transparency. From here, this allows us to view the work package in context with the other trades, with the other trades being slightly visible. Therefore, I can make sure we don't have any other issues we have to contend with, QA/QC what we're doing, so that as this goes to the field as a fabricated component, less chance of unknowns biting us in the butt unless someone else has changed. And so that's how we use Revisto to double check our packages. So from here, we're going to pass it back to Dan, and Dan's going to talk about our PM, PDM, and our field interaction.
All right, so here on this slide, you'll see an exceptionally simple flowchart. You might wonder, why make a flowchart for something so simple? And that's kind of the point exactly, is that once you've done the setup work, this is very, very easy in Revisto. You saw Barry make a work package issue in Revisto. Now, this isn't an issue in the classic sense that there's actually something wrong with it. It just isolates that section of pipe in the job for us to be able to look at and focus in on. Barry showed you how to isolate it in a vacuum and how to isolate it in transparency in the job, both providing different levels of perspective on that pipe. The lead designer, who in this case is Barry, is going to assign the issue package and kick it to his PDM, his project development manager, who in this case is me. You heard him reference that. What I would then do from that point on is I would look at the piping and I would go through Binsky's internal QA/QC check. I would then take that original issue that Barry assigned to me and I would assign it to our PM. He would then follow the same QA/QC check along with his foreman and our fabrication team. Once that QA/QC is done on their part, they would then assign the responsibility back to Barry, knowing that the loop was complete. However, at any point in that process, if someone realized something in their check that they wanted Barry to fix in Revit, they could then tag their own new issue. They could say that a valve was installed in the wrong direction or the wrong spot or the wrong orientation. Barry could take the info from that new issue and he could fix the model in Revit. But once the QA/QC check is complete, Barry knows to close the issue. Then he uploads to our third-party fab software that work package's worth of pipe from Revit. Our fab spooling team can then create 100% accurate fab assembly packages for our fab shop to build. That completes our Binsky process of QA/QCing Revit pipe in Revisto and only in Revisto. And with that, that concludes our presentation.
Very awesome. Thank you, guys. Very informative.
Yeah, that was great. Can you guys touch on briefly, Felipe had mentioned the Binsky triangle. Is that, can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, is that something in the Caribbean Ocean or what is that exactly?
Basically it's a little triangle that we made. It's I've spoken to Travis, so it's like our whiteboard. Whenever there's anything missing in the trailer, if it's paper, if it's rubber bands, if it's spray cans to lay out trenches, they could just go to that Binsky triangle and put a little issue there and say, hey, I need more, more printer paper in the thing, or I need this, tape, anything that they can't tag in the model, they would just tag in that little triangle there. It's a little SOS that they can go to.
Yeah, it might be something they may not know which valve to use in which system because it hasn't been sorted out with the engineer yet. So they might tag that triangle early in the job. Hey guys, we're still looking for valves. We want to get them in the model. There's nowhere to tag because there's 1,000 valves that belong in the model. So are you going to make 1,000 issues or are you going to tag the triangle once? So it's kind of home base, like Felipe was saying.
Yeah.
There could be a dozen to more issues in the beginning of the job that have no location in the model, but have heavy relevance in getting that model built. So it's just home base. You tag that when you don't have anywhere else to tag, and